It's been 48 days since the cruise lines voluntarily shut down cruising. Almost 7 weeks with no cruising, and the world's still just as challenging as it was 48 days ago. Families dealing with horrible loss, and the collective globe still scratching its head, asking the question, what will we do next? In the midst of all that turmoil, a very valid question is, should we even be talking about cruising? In today's episode of the Lido Loca cruise show, let's dive a little bit into the philosophical. Let's dive a little bit into the existential and ask the question, does cruising even matter? Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Tony. If you enjoyed travel and cruising content, please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. That way you don't miss out on any of our episodes. Well, it's a fair question. In a world gone sideways, are there some things that you just shouldn't worry about anymore? And is cruising one of those? And look, I know that you guys know my answer to the question, does cruising still matter? You know my answer is yes, but I shouldn't just leave it out there with just a yes. Let me tell you why I think cruising does matter. First, the existential crisis. When it comes to existence, does anything matter? And how do you rank the things that matter? I guess you could throw everything into a pot. Yes, keeping a roof over your head, eating, making sure your family's safe. Those are some low-level things. Making sure that you're healthy. Those things certainly matter. But does the internet matter? Does movies matter? Do video games matter? Do barbecue restaurants matter? You can take this as far as you want to take it, and I think you can make the case in almost every circumstance that whatever you think's important, well, it isn't really that important in the scheme of the things. There's a relativity to it, and the things that are important to you because of your relative relationship to them. So we could sit and spin our wheels all day about whether anything really matters at all, but let's just move past that. Let's just say that, yes, there are some things that matter, and what you have to do with the thing that you want to say matters is you have to maybe give some context as to why the thing that you think matters. So let me do that for cruising. And I'm going to go real high end on the first one. The first reason that cruising matters is it brings people hope. That's right. Cruising can bring people hope. It is a hope of normalcy. I would argue that for the most part, people like to have a sense of control. They like to have a sense of security. And then in times where things are changing rapidly and you don't know what the answer is for the next question that you have, there tends to be a bit of despair. In those moments of despair, if you can affix your eyes to something that gives you hope, then you are less likely to despair. And for many people, that is cruising. If you have a cruise scheduled beyond the time where cruises have been canceled, that gives you a beacon of light of saying, okay, even though things are challenging now, maybe the thing that I'm familiar with and that I enjoy, maybe that thing will go off in the next few months. It is a beacon of hope. Hope is very powerful for people in hurting and challenging times, and hope comes from many places. And if cruising does represent hope to someone, then cruising does matter. Another reason that cruising matter is because for many, it represents their livelihood. It represents a job. If you think about the people that are working the call centers for the cruise line, if you think about tour companies, if you think about port workers, thinking about it, there's a large number of people that derive their income, their livelihood, their ability to pay their bills from the cruising industry. By dismissing cruising as unimportant, you are indirectly dismissing the fact that this is how some people have chosen to make a living. People who depend on cruising for their livelihood, the well-being of their family, yeah, they definitely believe that cruising is important and worth talking about. It's been an interesting conversation. I have seen some of the comments on the videos that I put out where people have said, with so many people unemployed, how can you continue to talk about cruising? No one is in the mood for a vacation. And while I don't dispute that there is a huge number of people that are unemployed, percentage-wise, at least in the United States, I believe that's around 16 or 17%. So 16 or 17% of the people unemployed, probably not thinking about vacation, but that does leave a huge number of people that are employed that may be thinking about vacation as a way to escape the stress once this pandemic is under control, and they still want to think about vacation. 83%, a much larger number of people working, possibly thinking about vacation than people who aren't. Talking about cruising does not mean that you dismiss the people that are unemployed, that you dismiss the families that are dealing with tragic loss, But life is not binary. You can be sad about one thing and hopeful about another thing. You can at the same time mourn with some and rejoice with others, and that be reconciled in this life. And then the last thing why I want to say cruising matters is there are many communities out there where people connect over this one issue of cruising. Cruising represents a community of people. The interesting thing about the way that we are able to connect with technology these days is that you can find your tribe. You can go on the internet, you connect with other people, have similar interests. Cruising is no different than thousands of other interests that people share. And the awesome thing about cruising is there are communities of people that come together and talk about cruising as a shared interest. Real bonded friendships, real community exist around cruising. And all of a sudden to negate that would be dismissive of people who connect to each other in that way. At the end of the day, my appeal is this. It is obvious that cruising isn't everybody's cup of tea, but it's equally obvious that for some, cruising is very important. And so if your goal is to promote humanity during this time of crisis, if your goal is really concern for other people, then it shouldn't bother you that people still love cruising. Cruising isn't just about vacation. It's a lot deeper, and it means a lot to a lot of different people. And so, yes, at the end of the day, I'm saying that cruising is important. Cruising is important to talk about. What do you think? Leave a comment below. How about that cruise life? Are you in? Are you out? Let's continue the conversation. Now, a question that's been asked is, should cruising start back up before a vaccine is discovered? I think there's a more important question than that. I covered it in this video right here. And check out this video. YouTube thinks that it's the one you should watch. Thank you so much for stopping by. Show your support for the channel by hitting the like button. My name's Tony, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido.